Chapter 4. Social media doesn't sell much, but relationships do. I braced myself as a man sprinted up to the book launcher's event booth while reaching into his backpack. I was about to be book bombed. "You clearly love books," he shouted, without greeting me or introducing himself. "Let me give you my book." He didn't wait for me to respond. "After you read it, can you please write a review on Amazon? You know how important those are, so I'm sure you do a lot of reviews, right?" he said, opening the front cover to his book. "Right here is my card, so you can subscribe to my newsletter too. I'm trying to grow my platform. My publicist told me to get my book in as many hands as I can. You launch books, so you probably help with that too, right?" At this point, I still hadn't said anything. Not a word. I looked down at the book and couldn't actually figure out what it was about. The title was abstract, it had no subtitle, and the cover art was vague and didn't give me any information about the content inside. "Who did your cover?" I asked in an even tone. "Oh, you like that? It's great, right? My daughter's in design school and did that for me," he replied. He pointed out a couple of details on the cover he loved, and as soon as he saw someone he knew, he said goodbye and was off. I stared at his book and wondered if he considered our conversation, if you could call it that, a win. Did he think he had achieved what the publicist requested? Was he going to be wondering why he gave out 100 books at the event for free and not a single person wrote a review or signed up for his newsletter? My message to you? Don't be that guy. And to make sure that never happens, let's take a look at the right way to build your platform. Author Website Essentials. In the early days of book launchers, we pitched one of our clients for an article in a major magazine. The magazine responded with interest, but when they found out the author did not have a website, we lost the opportunity. They said the author lacked credibility. If you are hoping to land big media, speaking engagements, or other business opportunities from your book, at the very least, you need a website. Or if you have a business website already, you need a page dedicated to your book and your credentials as its author. This is not an optional part of your marketing plan. The good news, though, is that website designers are everywhere, and it's easier than ever to create professional book sites. I'll give you a few examples of sites we've built so you can see they don't have to be fancy, but they do need to be effective. You'll also see that they all have some core common elements, including these. 1. Author bio. Hint, that's you. 2. Book or books you've written, where to buy them, and any awards or reviews. 3. Contact information. 4. Easy navigation. 5. Newsletter opt-in, something of value offered in exchange for the email address. First, your newsletter opt-in offer. We call this a reader magnet. The first element, front and center, above the fold, which means before you have to scroll down, there is an offer to get something of value in exchange for an email address. This is your reader magnet, and you sell it with an outcome-focused offer. Consider offers like these. Do you have enough to retire? Grab this workbook to calculate how much money you need to retire without a lifestyle change. Download the Spicy Relationship Checklist to spark the love you once had. Is your team following your lead? Take the leadership quiz to find out if your team respects you or not. Avoid doing these offers. Join my newsletter list for the latest updates. Get a free chapter from my book. Be the first to know when my new book is out. Get my newsletter. I'm sure you're surprised that the subscriber offer is first on the website. Why aren't you promoting the book first, right? A book buyer is nice, but an email subscriber can become a long-term relationship, so they buy all of your books, products, services, and recommended resources, and tell their friends too. When I launched Book Launchers in 2017, I was not known as a publishing expert. I was a real estate investing expert who had published 2 books. When I was ready to launch, I emailed my real estate list about the new business venture and told them I was looking for beta authors. The first 10 Book Launchers clients came from that list, and many others from that list have since published books. It might be hard to see the value in email addresses when you start out, but if you invest in each and every person who trusted you with their contact information, it could be financially profitable and personally fulfilling for years and years to come. Second, book page. The second must-have on your author website is a section dedicated to your books. If you've only published 1 book, you can showcase it using additional information about your brand to build out the page. If you're like our prolific client, Carol Sanford, you're showcasing a long list of books on your website. Just be sure to shine the spotlight on your latest release. For each book, make sure you include cover image, description, how to buy links, or even better, a universal book link that takes you to a page where the buyer can choose what to buy, reviews, accolades, media articles, or endorsements. If you offer bulk sales, large orders, you should also include that information here. Tip: universal links are free to create and they're a powerful selling tool. Readers can buy a book from their favorite site without your needing to include 20 different retail logos on your site. You can get yours at books2read.com or booklinker.com. Third, author bio. The third author website must-have is your author bio. For many books, it's important to share your background, i.e. education, occupation, expertise, and why your message is important to you. Include your professional author photo and other photos of you that relate to your topic, if appropriate. Some author websites have a link where media can download a digital media kit or additional images that can be used when they feature you and your book. It's not mandatory to include content like a blog, podcast, or videos, but having some content that showcases your personality, expertise, and message can go a long way to opening the door to more opportunities. It lets visitors know more about you, and it's also good for SEO over time. If you are a speaker or you want to do more speaking, your speaker reel, videos, or pictures of you at a speaking engagement can also be included here. It could also be on your website as a separate tab titled Speaking or Work with Me. Fourth, contact information. The fourth essential element on your author website is your contact information. If at all possible, include a phone number and email address instead of a blank form. Some people prefer to directly contact you. You don't want to miss out on opportunities like speaking engagements because it was hard to reach you. Fifth, navigational tools. Make the site easy to navigate and mobile friendly, and provide easy ways for folks to connect with you on social media. Most of the author sites we build are fewer than 6 main pages: homepage, book, about, contact, and blog. Tobin Lehman adopted a single-page website, but hit all the important points. While he did offer free chapters as part of a lead magnet, he also included 3 other downloadable resources that tied in with his approach to marketing. These sites make it easy for a target reader to get content, buy a book, and join an email marketing list. Sean Hayes created a website and wrote a book to build his speaking career. You'll see his speaking topics and videos are positioned on the website as prominently as his book. You also can't miss the fact that he is an incredibly successful entrepreneur and a felon. Imagine having him speak to a corporation about ethics. If you don't know where to start, try looking at author websites to get your creative juices flowing. Better yet, look at authors who share your target audience and view that information through the lens of your author brand and your goals. Your website is the home base for your brand and all the things you do, including your book. Email marketing is so old school. In 2006, I flew to Florida to take an email marketing course from a company called Early to Rise. I promptly launched my first email newsletter, which 2 years later evolved into my first online business. I know that an almost 2 decades old practice might seem out of touch today compared to the hottest social media platform. But when it comes to marketing your book, email newsletters are still high value. An email that pops directly into the inbox of your target audience creates a much better opportunity for connection. It also builds a foundation for a long-lasting relationship that can help you achieve bigger goals. And it can't be emphasized enough that it's a list that you control. An email newsletter is your own media, and you own your content channel and strategy. With this content, you build more than a transactional relationship. You're providing value to your own community while gaining value in data that helps you market your book, build your brand, and provide better services. Where do you start with your newsletter? The first step is to figure out the right opt-in to connect your audience with your brand. Basically, what do you promise to provide them in exchange for their email address? This is your reader magnet, a kind of quid pro quo. Visit booklaunchers.com/businessbook to see an example of an opt-in with a value-add offering that works. The making of a great reader magnet. What problem do you intend to solve with your content? That's the key to developing your reader magnet. Think of something you can offer related to your book topic that will give someone a quick win. When I was in real estate, I offered a quick cash flow calculator spreadsheet that I knew would help potential investors analyze deals and would be hard to pass up. How about a little sex talk to liven things up? Sex and relationship coach Dr. Lene St. John aims to help adults in 3 different ways. She coaches couples on how to regain their sexual spark, parents on how to talk to their children about sex in healthy and positive ways, and women on how to explore their own sexuality and confidence. On her website, 3 lead magnets address each audience and allow visitors to choose their own adventure. They can download 1 or all 3. The bonus here for Lene is that she can see which of her lead magnets gets the most attention and downloads. Identifying popular content gives her an advantage because she can tweak weak messaging to expand her audience. Presentation expert Dan Fraser, author of Kick-Ass Presentations, helps presenters deliver dynamic presentations. His lead magnet is a 6-page guide to the impact of color on presentations. It's super useful and packs mega value for anyone who has to create presentations on a regular basis, and all they have to do is join his email newsletter list. Whatever you create, make sure you get it professionally designed so it's aesthetically pleasing and cohesive. It should represent you and your brand with your chosen fonts, colors, logos, and a callback to your book and website. It should fit seamlessly into your brand and how you service your target reader. You can find talented and affordable designers on Upwork, Guru, or Fiverr. Your reader magnet may be the first impression someone has of your brand, and it's worth your time and investment to make it look good and increase your odds of building a long-term relationship. Email newsletter setup quick tips. You can find great guides on how to set up an email newsletter from a technical standpoint, so I'm going to focus more on developing strategy. In terms of service providers, we like ConvertKit and MailChimp. A quick search will help you determine the features that are most important to you. Various options include cost, deliverability, ease of setup, simple design, integration to website, opt-in page templates, and more. My advice is to keep it simple. My best performing opt-in pages, after sending hundreds of thousands of visitors to different pages, are always the ones that have a simple image of the reader magnet with a compelling headline and a name and email form to complete. Simple sells. Your newsletter doesn't have to be really fancy either. What matters most is that your newsletter gets delivered to the inbox of your readers, matches your brand, and adds value to their lives. Don't give your readers the silent treatment. As soon as a newsletter subscriber signs up, make sure they are immediately greeted with some type of content. Set up an automated sequence so that they receive a welcome email. Provide the promised reader magnet as part of that welcome, and get readers excited about what's coming next. Decide how often to send your newsletter and the type of content to include, and let subscribers know, then stick to it. Ideally, send your newsletter at least once a month. Bi-weekly or weekly is better so you can build a connection and people remember who you are. Craft subject lines to catch subscribers' attention right away and convince them that your newsletter content is worth their time. You're going to fast-track yourself to trash bins if you write dull titles like Monthly Tips Newsletter or Julie's Update. Headline your email the same way you would title a chapter. You did write compelling chapter titles, right? Write something that creates curiosity, adds value, or sells a benefit. Social media doesn't sell books for most authors. Building an audience on social media benefits your author platform. It can help you get speaking gigs, podcast interviews, and other promotional opportunities. Being active on social media is also one of the criteria that international publishers look at when considering an author for a foreign rights deal, according to the team at DropCap. The folks at Underground Jam, who help turn books into screenplays, also indicated that building a presence on social media helps your book become something for a screen, too. In other words, social media can be a powerful piece of your author brand, helping you build an audience and establish yourself as an authority in your area of expertise. If you have an audience on social media already, it also will likely help you sell some books. If you're an author who is starting from scratch, expecting social media to sell books is going to be a long, painful road, though. If you have started a social media channel and watched your audience grow by single digits for months at a time, you know what I mean. Even if you've been at it for a few years and have thousands of followers, you're still not going to see a lot of book sales from that general audience. In other words, if your overall goal is book sales and you don't already have an audience, investing time, energy, and money into social media is a mismatch of tactic and goal. To emphasize this, let's do some math with a hypothetical example. Assume you already have 10,000 followers on a given social media platform. Look at how many people engage with your content by way of likes or comments or shares. That tells you who is actively involved in your content enough that they might be interested in taking advantage of a book offer. Certain platforms let you view analytics by clicks and clicks per post views. You can also use a service like Bitly or Pretty Links, a WordPress plugin, to track your links for a month. This ought to shake loose your dreams of selling thousands of books on social media. If you're doing really well, about 10 to 20% of your followers or connections see your content. Of those, unless you're posting something really, really juicy, less than 5% are going to click on your link. That click rate is closer to 1 to 2% for the content I post, but let's use 5% because you are probably doing a better job on social media than I am. How many of those people are going to buy your book? That really depends on a lot of factors, but I'm guessing anything more than a 10% conversion of those clicks is extremely rare. Based on this hypothetical scenario, here's the math. Total of 10,000 followers. 20% view content equals 2,000 people. 5% of 2,000 click on that link equals 100 people. 10% of 100 buy your book equals 10 people. The more realistic scenario, what most authors actually experience, is half that number. Of course, this is one post, and it doesn't consider the impact of other people sharing the post, and you'll most certainly be sharing about your book more than one time. I've kept it simple to illustrate my point, which is simply that most people grossly overestimate the power of social media for direct book sales. It's also worth noting that there are always exceptions. One of our clients had fewer than 20,000 Twitter followers, but his audience was full of influential people who were so engaged that it led to thousands of book sales. We also had another author with an audience of about 100,000 people on Instagram outperform expectations. He sold more than 1,000 copies on launch, and it was almost entirely from that one social media platform, which included influencers who amplified his message. But these examples are the exception, not the rule. If it's not likely to sell that many books, why bother? As noted above, if your bigger picture goal is something well beyond book sales like speaking, thought leadership, international rights deals, or movie moments, social media is an important tactic to reach your bigger picture goal. Social media can also offer high-value links back to your website, and it provides places where you can engage and connect with your audience. You can also connect with influencers to develop partnerships to get exposure and gain more opportunities. Plus, when speaking or media opportunities come up, you have an advantage over other experts if you have a larger following. Promotion is a two-way street. Social media takes a lot of energy and effort, so if you aren't interested or excited about it, focus on finding people who have an audience with whom you can connect. There are plenty of other things to do to help make your book a success, and we'll get into them soon. Social media tips for savvy authors. Let's say you are interested and excited about connecting with your readers on social media. That's great. There are going to be plenty of experts to support you with specific platforms. So here are some general tips to help you use social media to accomplish your overall author goals. 1. Pick one platform. Just because you can be on every form of social media does not mean you should be. What platform do you enjoy? Do you find more like-minded people on LinkedIn than Facebook? Each platform has its unique features and users. Find your audience. And if you use their favorite particular platform on a regular basis, create great content for them. 2. Play to your strengths. If you love photography, you'll probably have a blast on Instagram or even Pinterest. If you like dancing and being creative, TikTok could be fun. If you're into deep thoughts and professional insights that spark conversation, LinkedIn might be your place. You'll find me most active on booklaunchers.tv on YouTube. I love creating content, responding to comments, and meeting other YouTubers, so I focus my attention there. 3. Uncover the hook for your social media. Consider your author branding. What do you offer your audience? What do you hang your hat on? What are the consistent messages you want to put into the world? Follow the 80-20 rule. 80% of your content could be audience-centric, focused on offering value, and 20% might be brand-centric with calls to action like subscribe or buy. Audience-centric content provides value with material that offers your audience appreciation, entertainment, or education. That means tips, quotes, steps, excerpts from your book, or high-value content. Brand-centric content, on the other hand, asks for a sale, a subscription, a donation, a review, or anything focused on your brand. When you've provided content that's valuable to your audience, they're more receptive to invitations such as buy my book, schedule a consultation, and write a review. 4. Get familiar with hashtags. You probably know what a hashtag is, but just in case, hashtags are words or phrases preceded by a number sign and used to link a message with a particular topic, like hashtag no boring books. Hashtags are useful because they make your posts more searchable. Kindlepreneur has even created a hashtag generator for authors. We love it. Now, one caution, more isn't better though. Including too many hashtags or hashtags that are too general or too obscure won't accomplish much of anything. A report from Sprout Social found that engagement drops when more than one hashtag is used on Twitter and Facebook. 5. Be consistent. Success on social media takes a long time. Focus on creating a strong, engaged community with consistent, valuable content. Really, truly care about the people with whom you're connecting. To generate engagement, you need to engage first and do so at regular intervals. With YouTube, I have found a predictable content creation schedule and a commitment to replying to the majority of comments builds a strong community. If you can, reply to every person's comment, then head on over to their page and comment on their content too. A retweet or repost is okay, but personalized comments are far more valuable and appreciated. Just because social media won't usually fuel book sales doesn't mean you shouldn't use it if it fits with your bigger picture goals. Remember, it can be an asset if you want to build credibility and be known as an influencer. But the most important piece of your author platform is your email newsletter. To help you build your newsletter and create a content calendar, which we'll talk about shortly, head over to selfpromoteandsucceed.com, where we've got some wonderful resources to help you. Plus, you can download a sample author content calendar to get you started. Developing a content calendar to keep you from going crazy. It's easy to go days or even weeks without posting content, which is why spending time planning and even using a scheduling software system to set up your posts in advance will help you immensely. Planning your content is as simple as filling a jar with rocks, pebbles, and sand. If you fill your jar with all your sand and pebbles first, you won't have any room left for your rocks. To get everything to fit in the jar, insert your big rocks first, then your pebbles, and then pour in the sand. Everything will fit and work together. Think about your content calendar as your jar. Put your big ideas, events, or news in place first, and then build out the rest of your content. When you start big and then work smaller, 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 you'll have a much better idea of the type of content you need to create from a brand perspective. Instead of freaking out, rushing around, and stressing while you try to figure out what to post every day, you'll know exactly what to post on a daily basis, and you'll have planned content that aligns with your brand's latest developments, events, or news, and your vision for your brand's future. Start with the current year and break it into quarters, every 3 months. For each quarter, think about your big rocks. They could be book release or book release anniversary, course launch, or a live workshop or training, major theme, season, or event that you plan to promote around. This could be Breast Cancer Awareness Month, Earth Day, Valentine's Day, or Father's Day. It's something that people will be celebrating or talking about. Sales or special promotions for your book or your business. Significant dates for your business, brand, or book, like the day you launched the business, the day your book hit #1 on a list, or even your birthday. What dates are significant to you and your business? These milestones are great promotional opportunities. After you plot out your quarters with your big rocks, break your calendar down month by month. What kind of content do you need to create in that month to align with your big rocks? Beth Kavanaugh builds promotions around Nursing Week, which makes sense since she is the author of Some Light at the End, your bedside guide for peaceful palliative and hospice care, and The Power and Pain of Nursing, self-care practices to protect and replenish compassion. Now that's a big rock for her calendar. Around that, she'll have pebbles for 99-cent promotions, content from her book specific to Nursing Week, and maybe some giveaways. Her sand will surround the stones, filling in empty spaces with tips, pictures, and personal content. November is Adoption Awareness Month, a great time for author Tricia Campbell to focus on promoting her memoir, 8 Was Enough. Similarly, Don't Ask a Blind Man for Directions by John Samuel is the perfect book to promote during October's National Disability Employment Awareness Month. Doing outreach to influencers, associations, and media when there is an awareness month or a holiday that is a good fit for that group can be really effective. They are likely looking for time-sensitive content related to those topics, and you have expertise to share. Remember, your entire strategy should have a clear purpose, and that purpose isn't promotion. Think about your ideal reader and the audience with whom you want to connect. What can you offer that's going to be of value and consequence to them? Your reader research tools are useful for coming up with ideas for content, but you can also use your book. There's a whole lot of content in those pages, and there's no rule that says you can't recycle it into your email or social media strategy. Pull out your tips, resources, quotes, and stories. Pick a chapter that pairs well with your big rocks or that month's theme. That chapter can become a blog post. From there, you can pull out specific tips from the blog to turn into social media posts. Take another piece of the chapter for a LinkedIn post, and then use a segment for an Instagram Live or for that week's email newsletter. You don't have to come up with entirely new content to build out your entire strategy. When you repurpose your content and cross-promote it, you're guaranteeing that your content aligns with your overall brand and captures your messaging as a whole. For added inspiration, look at your industry. If you're in real estate, check when housing reports or interest rate notices come out and plan content accordingly. Also, consider messages that relate to the time of year. If you're a tax specialist, you certainly know when people are thinking about taxes. If you're in health and fitness, pay attention to cyclical trends and hot topics, and prepare to be a trusted voice on these subjects. You're an expert, so your audience will want your perspective. Providing insight on relevant topics can be a really great way to deepen your connection with followers, highlight your authority, and build trust and credibility, all while tying it back to your brand. Notice book bombing hasn't come up once as a tactic. Of course, we're not done platform building just yet. Next, we're going to cover the pieces of my platform that sold thousands of books and boosted it to #1, my real-life connections and incentives to buy the book now. We'll also cover speaking engagements, LinkedIn, and partnerships before we get into the book sales and promotional tactics ahead. Chapter Summary 1. Social media isn't usually the best method of selling books, so it's best to have realistic expectations and use your time and energy wisely. 2. Old school strategies like email marketing play an important role in helping you sell books, offer your services and products, and build deep relationships with your readers. 3. A chapter in your book is only a good reader magnet if you position it to solve a problem for your ideal reader. Never offer a free chapter. 4. You don't need to be on every platform or any at all if other tactics are a better fit for your goals. Focus on what you need to deliver to align with your author goals. 5. Use a content calendar to get organized around your communications and keep your readers engaged.